Today is a historic and unprecedented day for America. There's a live look at Trump Tower, what you're seeing, where former President Donald Trump is expected to depart for a Manhattan courthouse to turn himself in to face criminal charges.
No person to hold the role of U.S. president has ever been indicted. And while there are several open investigations into the former president, this case stems from allegedly falsifying records related to hush money payments made during his 2016 campaign. After this arraignment today, Trump is expected to fly back to his mar-a-lago estate to deliver a speech tonight.
All right, we want to bring in CBS News political director Finn Gomez, who is in West Palm Beach, Florida. Finn, you are perhaps at the place where, you know, the support for former President Donald Trump is consolidated, is concentrated. I was just reading through his social media posts, and he's been busy, though he hasn't spoken, but he's been attacking Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida. He's been attacking his former allies that have turned against him. How are his supporters there responding to this case and the other ones that he's also been discussing on social media?
Yeah, Lilia and Lana, we have seen a fervent reaction from his hardcore base, many of whom are here in West Palm Beach surrounding Mar-a-Lago with flags, with signs, with MAGA hats and such. But that is also, we've also spoken to people who are here from different states. And while it's representative of that MAGA base that it supports Donald Trump, it's not necessarily representative of even Palm Beach County. According to data from 2021, this area is primarily split up by thirds between Republicans, Democrats, and others. You know, so I think that it is a representation of the support that Donald Trump has within the Republican Party, especially that MAGA base that makes up the majority of his support, 20 to 30% hardcore supporters of the former president and his 2024 candidacy. But here it has become a rallying place, if you will, for that support. But as you mentioned, Lilia, the former president has been attacking various people, and I think that that will likely continue. It's something that has revved up his base, but also has echoes of previous controversial statements and periods like the one right before January 6th. So there's been some concern and worry from other people who aren't Trump supporters in this area as well. Like if there's the potential for any sort of violent demonstrations or anything of that nature. But yes, it's something that we are watching, Lilia, as we continue with this day.
Finn, normally criminal indictments it's just the end of a political career. But in this case, Trump has turned this to help him politically. Explain that for our audience.
Yeah, very much so, Lana. He has not only, as I mentioned, inflamed his base to rally around him. We've also seen rivals and potential rivals also rally around him and criticize the Manhattan DA and the investigation there. But it also one of his senior advisors, Jason Miller, a senior campaign advisor, posted that the campaign has raised $8 million since the indictment news first broke late last week. So it's also helping him fundraise. And so he is also his campaign has been putting out fundraising letters, fundraising emails. And you're also seeing some of that effect, perhaps, in some of the early state polling that we've seen over the last couple of days. For instance, in New Hampshire, the Granite State, of course, one of the early voting states in the 2024 Republican presidential calendar. In that state, there's a new poll from St. Anselm's College that shows the former president with a double-digit lead over Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, his closest rival, who, of course, still has not entered the presidential race. That is expected after his legislative session ends next month in Tallahassee. But you are seeing that uptick, if you will, with the support for Donald Trump right now in this stage of the Republican race, Lana.
And that's something, Finn, that he's been touting in his social media. I mean, those polls. He's also been attacking the special counsel Jack Smith
and his family,
and his family, as well as the judge in this case in Manhattan. we may or may not hear from the president on this case, from the former president on this case today here in New York, but we do expect, if all goes according to plan, to hear from him tonight over there in Mar-a-Lago. What do you expect him to address or say?
I think it's going to be reminiscent of what we are already hearing from him, if you will, on his social media platform, from his campaign and his allies, his supporters. It will be this form of attack, essentially, against the Manhattan DA, against the various opponents that he has or he believes he has against him. It will be in part to rally support and to really utilize that speech to garner and sort of harness that momentum politically that we have been seeing. This is the same ballroom. I was just in there yesterday. This is the same ballroom in Mar-a-Lago where he announced his candidacy in mid-November. And so I think that it will be very reminiscent of a political rally, even though it's not necessarily a political rally specifically. It's not one, it's not in a big auditorium or arena, but about 800 people are expected at this event. Lilia, Lana?
Wow. Well, we'll see what he can say, depending on what the judge decides today. Fin Gomez, thank you so much.